So I have some questions to respond to. And there's a certain common theme in them that you can probably work out for yourself. It's the dilemma of the person, which is the major dilemma that we come across. The person is the doer, one who's trying to meditate, make it work, and so forth. So, first person, when I sit in meditation, when the mind is not wandering into what I could or should be doing, sometimes the feeling is subtle and sometimes it is intense. Rarely is it relaxed. When the bell goes, I feel relieved it's over. The samadhi that you describe where the mind becomes composed, I feel like I've experienced that more when sitting on the couch with a cup of tea than on the cushion. Meditation seems to become a real chore with a real somebody who wants to get somewhere. Can you suggest a way to approach this? So in this retreat, so I'm not using a bell, so that could be interesting to find out when you decide you're meditating, when you decide you're not. What's the difference? If there's a relief from the meditation period, how do you come out of, when you're doing your meditation, how do you come out of that? If there's no sudden bell, it's just a sense you continue sitting here or whatever, and maybe you open your eyes and what has changed? Where's the relief? What has changed? If you're not trying to rein the mind in, maybe, not trying to calm down, maybe, feeling you're in a wider space because your eyes are open. Yeah. Just maybe, you don't even have to verbalize it. Notice, now I'm meditating and now I'm not meditating. Where's the boundary between the two? Yeah. And when I am sort of just sitting down and maybe having drunk 5 cups of tea on the couch, I feel, well, yeah, I think I've got what I can out of that in terms of relaxing. Now, finish with the tea. What changes to make that meditation? How do I enter? What do I do from sitting here to call it meditation? These are quite important transitions. What happens? Maybe you say, well, I kind of get more attentive, apply more attention. Okay. Yeah. Do you need to do that? Maybe you are focusing on a particular theme, like breathing in and out, because that's what I suggested. Now, okay, enough of that. So there's a sense of relaxing the attention. But of course, the attention, there is that sense of relief, perhaps. But then you might notice after a few minutes, your attention starts getting pulled by thoughts and physical discomfort and sort of getting a bit bored or what to do next. So your attention gets captured again. Yeah. Now, there's another quality called intention, which is your motivation experience. Yeah. Your motivation, your sense of what your doingness within any sphere of attention, if you see what I mean. Do you know what I mean? A sphere of attention. So now my eyes are open, my attention covers this room, the screen in the middle of it. I'm lightly attentive of the whole room and a screen in the middle of it. So my sphere of attention is that, and there's a center to it. And yeah. Now my intention, my motivation would be, I want to focus on the screen. I want to focus on that Buddha Rupa on that Zoom screen. The intention then focuses in. And what kind of quality is it? Is it happy to do that, or does it feel it should do that? Do I quite enjoy looking at the Buddha Rupa on the screen, or do I feel, okay, that's the meditation object, try to be aware of that? Just notice what affects your intention. And I would suggest, for a lot of us, this is really quite personal and subtle as to where the attention, sits steady and your intention has got a certain interested, happy quality to it. And that's partly to do with what you contact. So, if I'm looking at a Buddha image, the Buddha is quite agreeable. Looking out the trees around my kuti, that's quite pleasant to look at. Yeah, it's got a nice sense of space. I like the space, makes you feel relieved. And maybe when I start focusing on my breathing, the space disappears and I get quite close up to it, so I've got to study it. Do I need to do that? Is it possible to have your mode of attention rather as if you're looking out over the ocean or over out my kuti, looking at the trees, leaves are blowing, branches are blowing in the wind. That's quite comfortable. I'm kind of interested in the whole scenario of that thing, the trees, leaves moving. As I notice that, I might focus, oh yeah, there's a lot of wind out there. The wind is moving the trees. The common theme in that is the wind. There's the oak tree and the maple tree and that tree, but the leaves and some of the flowers are moving, plants are moving. The common theme is the movement of the air. And could it be, in a similar way, as I'm sitting here, keeping a wide sense of a body sitting here, and trying to make it comfortable, and you've got to work with that, of course, to get the sense of support. This my attention is whole body. I don't have to find it because it's here. Just like look out the door, there's the trees. I sit here, feel this sense of something familiar that's got firmness to it, degree of warmth to it. Oh, that's it, all right. There it is. Yep, that's it. I don't have to kind of focus on it in that way. I just receive that body experience and warm, solid space, And within all that, there's this movement. We'll call that breathing, just like the movement of the trees. And there's sort of certainly something quite soothing about that. I wonder what will happen. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's quite comfortable. So, and because of that, I kind of disengage from other things. I'm not really so interested in the little bits and pieces on the walls or the, or memories about yesterday. No, I'm not interested in that. This is quite nice just to be with this. Yeah, I can be with this. Settle into it, get more interested because it's quite agreeable. Oh, do you notice that? How the in-breath different shift to the out breath. Yeah, that's true. Out breath is kind of releasing, isn't it? So you kind of can let it speak a little more fully as you get interested in it. Yeah. So one of the qualities that is hallmark of meditation or its practice is called viveka, which means it's not so much what you do, is what you stop doing. You disengage. You disengage. So there's the clock, and we're often running on a certain degree of momentum. Tomorrow and job and duties and the chores, and okay, now I've got an hour, half an hour of meditation, 45 minutes of meditation, do that, and then get the meditation, try to do the best I can with that. Wrong, no, not right, not quite right. Too much like work, too much like mopping the floor. No, let's just unplug from that, from that energy, that attitude. Time to enjoy simplicity. Time to enjoy simplicity. Enjoy nature. Unplug from those drives. And when you unplug, think, so I don't want to bother to look at that. I'm not interested in that. Yeah, just put the tomorrow to one side, and forget about the Olympic Games or whatever it is. Just for now, let's enjoy the simplicity. Yeah. So it's a shift, and the disengagement is very significant because it is the gear shift. And so in our daily life, often our gear shift is in first, second, third, or top gear, depending on where you're going, how much you have to do. Sometimes it can be really high speed, and sometimes it's just, okay, this and then that and this. And there's a certain energy that becomes habituated, right? It becomes, that's the way we operate. We do this and we do that and this and that. Yeah, that's fair enough. But now we're going to shift gear into more receptive, like you're coming into neutral. How is it now? And making a practice of keep disengaging the gear shift. When it starts to move forward, disengage it. So that's disengaging contact impressions, what your mind is contacting, just unplug, disengaging that kind of intentionality, that kind of do it intentionality, disengage that. And your attention is engaged, but it's engaged with holding a kind of a holistic experience, which is there's an embodiment, there's a sense of at ease with oneself, there's a sense of balance and attentiveness and listening. So it's really these kind of psychological qualities of interest, listening, comfortable, and also the steady, supportive quality that the body brings. If you get it in the right position, sit in a chair, walk up and down, stand, sit, and just ground yourself. So you don't have to do very much. And it's getting those, just lining those up, or feeling your way into the holistic experience that you can sit in, that you can rest your heart in. This is a heart-based practice. So the tonality of the heart is pretty significant. And on the purely kind of ordinary mental level, what we're doing is what's it doing that for? It's not getting anywhere. And what's the point? You know, it's going so well, you got to get results going, but we disengage that particular faculty into the heart quality of appreciation and warmth, loving kindness, my well-being, my balance is rather precious. And we get interested. Yeah. So you might need to work on, or work, you know, I say it again, but cultivate or let grow the heart qualities and bring in the body as is suitable. Yeah. You know, just how much of an object you need to give you support. Because generally, if you just get the heart there, that's very nice, but often it starts to get, it needs something to ground itself in. Or if you're starting from the body, remember, we're talking about embodiment being quite a wide experience, you know, the sense of the physicality sitting within a space. It's a holistic experience. It includes the immediate place we're sitting in, yeah. And so you might need to start with just, how does this body sit? How does it feel? How does the back feel? You know? And then from there, how do I get a general sense of, you know, good feeling towards that? What brings that to me? Just the rather sensitive and vulnerable experience of having a body brings up perhaps the right kind of heart conditions. So these are avenues that you might like to play with. And as I said right at the beginning, notice the transition between meditating and not meditating. And you'll learn something. Yeah. Not meditating at first is quite a relief, and then your mind gets distracted. Meditating at first seems quite a good idea, and then it starts to get tight. Just try to stay on the edge of meditating and not meditating at the same time. Meditate with a mind that doesn't meditate. No. So that's my suggestion. Settling in. Now let's have a look. Another question. Receiving or attuning to what is given is sometimes tricky due to personal or social conditioning. Receiving can be difficult if from an early age heart qualities are not given, welcome, cherishing, etc. That's why we have to return to more nature. So it's not always the case that the human social or even family experience is one that's cherishing and loving and, you know, and so forth. Or it can be, but sometimes there can be difficult instances within that where one feels, you know, left out, excluded, or judged, or something. And those things do stay with us, even if they were, most of the time we were kind of okay, but we did have some rough experiences. Yeah. So it's those pieces that often stay and make us feel we have to, two things we have to deserve, which is, I don't deserve, I haven't done enough to deserve to receive anything. I should earn something. That's a strong social conditioning. Another condition is I don't feel safe enough to allow, to open up, to receive things. I feel too vulnerable. Yeah. And these are, you know, heart conditions. Perhaps we don't really know what it feels like to be given to, or we've lost contact with that. we've earned things, we've done deals to get people's approval. And again, once again, if we try to just understanding this and return to the simple experience of embodiment, and where one feels nervous or agitated or not able to settle, how that's experienced. We don't feel we can be receptive. How is that, that, what would you call it, a boundary, an edginess, a defensiveness, a non-relaxation? How is that experienced? And so we experience that slightly tense or non-releasable, agitated condition. Okay, there's that. So I receive that. And just feeling the breathing and generating that sense of there is a body here breathing, sitting. You don't have to receive anything. And what would it be like to feel safe and you didn't have any obligation? So there's a certain deepening that occurs whenever you sit still, go into your embodied zone, your embodied territory, however troubled that is, there's a deepening there. And that deepening, the fact that we can deepen at all, certain resources are present. One is we're able to, the citta, the heart is able to, this is its territory. And however difficult or turbulent that territory is, the heart is able to sympathize with it. So it's sympathy for the unrelaxed, agitated state, not trying to change it. Okay, how is that? And do I even feel it in certain parts of my body? Does my soft tissues feel a little bit tense? Okay, and receiving and those areas, that sense with a quality of non-resistance, non-compulsion, openness. Just feels like this now, feels like this now, feels like this now. No pressure, no hurry. So there's a lot of very steady, loving, that is the natural language of the citta. Don't have to decide to be loving. Just the citta is naturally, its natural language, if you like, it has a loving quality to it because it's sympathetic. But to directly experience one's nervousness or closure of some kind with a sympathetic quality of heart and directly feel what happens in your body. Feel what's happening in the embodied domain. So this isn't just the physical body, but the sense of how much space you have around you, around your body, how grounded your body feels. So just sensing all of that. Is the space around you open, or is it something you feel closure around? And can there be a welcoming into your own space? So these are kind of themes you can just resonate with as you're sitting or standing or walking. And you might find it easier to cultivate that even when you're walking, because when you're walking, there's a little bit more of not just being a passive object. I've got some juice here, I can move around. And so if the experience of receiving brings up a certain vulnerability, then the fact that I can walk around gives me a little bit more, strength, you might say. Walk around just receiving the space that opens around me, the sights that come in, the sights, the sounds. And so you can cultivate walking, receiving the sense domain without clinging to it. And so that then it's all, and it just flows through. You kind of get that loosening up of the boundaries of attention. So another question, person realizes when they sit in meditation or do walking meditation, I realize my body sucks in the air and it just holds its breath for some seconds, sometimes maybe 5 seconds, sometimes even longer. It feels like I'm not the one doing this, but the body itself. Sometimes I feel the body relaxes while holding its breath before it releases the air again with some pressure, which then feels like it kind of closes again, feeling a bit compressed. When this happens, I try to observe this and not interpret it too much, trying to just let it happen and see what comes next. I ask myself whether this body-mind tries to avoid a specific feeling, but this seems like speculation. Is it the right approach to just observe this phenomenon and be with it, or is the holding of the breath already the result of a misguided practice, putting in too much effort? I don't know. But it may be that the breathing is not a suitable meditation theme, meditation topic. Because breathing is part of one aspect of what's called kaya sankhara, which means the general embodied energy, like the vitality of the body, the energy channels that runs down energy channels. So breathing out is considered to be the governor, the guide of this kaya sankhara. But it can also be the case that the breathing out is captured by certain negative influences in the body. For example, shock or compulsive reflexes or anxiety reflexes. So the mind is very jittery, and then the body just starts to tighten up. It's not a decision; it's a reflex. It's certainly not a choice. The body just does it because it's something like a trapped nerve, you might say. So it could be the case that, because it doesn't seem as if that's quite appropriate, if the body is sucking and holding breath, it seems as if that fundamentally there's a negative effect happening there. So it may be better just to do walking, focusing on the movement of the body when you walk, and standing, focusing on the sensations or the energy in your body when you stand. You do standing meditation, you get the sense of the, what is it that holds the body up, the balance, the whole body, from the top of the head to the soles of the feet. And walking, the same thing, the soles of the head to the soles of the feet, not the soles of the head, the soles of the feet to the top of the head, the whole thing moving along. So the upright axis and then the lateral axis, the width of the body, just like a sail moving along, on a mast as we move through the sense spheres until the body begins to feel very comfortable. And really, it's best to get the sense of the body feeling comfortable and unified and settled. And then when it does so, it begins to breathing, a comfortable breathing comes to the fore. So what I'm suggesting is you don't start with breathing, you start with getting your body established and let it, in its own time, as it becomes comfortable and established, and then it feel the breathing then. Now, one of the drawbacks with breathing for many people is they normally experience it just purely from their nose down to their diaphragm. And because that's what we imagine breathing is, the airflow of air. But the proper focus is to experience the entire body. Now, you might say, well, I don't breathe through my feet. Well, maybe not. But can you be in contact with the whole body as you're breathing? So palms of your hands, soles of the feet. There's the whole body. Chest, back, feel the extent of it, the width, the uprightness. Just get that to feel like one piece, one thing, one entity, one frame of reference. All of that. Now, within that, you don't have to locate a particular point, but just sustaining that frame of reference, lingering. You can probably feel some breathing happening. And you don't need to locate it, as in my belly or my diaphragm or my throat. As if the entire body is listening. Right? Now, for example, you may think, how can you do that? That seems strange. But imagine you're making a campfire and you build a little fire and you sit around it. And you can sit around it at 5 meters away from the fire and you can still see the fire. You can still feel the effect. You don't have to sit on top of it to feel it, right? So you can have quite a big circle. And you find if you do that with a group of people, they will find where they want to sit in relationship to that fire. None of them are going to want to sit right on top of it, right? And yet everyone will be saying, oh, yes, I experienced the fire. It's a nice fire. That's a pleasant fire. That's a nice bonfire. I can feel the warming effect. I can see the light, but I'm, 3 meters away from it or whatever. Similarly, you keep your body like the circle around the breathing, and you can discern breathing, and you don't have to get up close, tight to it. And you might find that wider frame of attention helps some of the energies in the body to find their balance. Because primarily a lot of body energy is adapted to certain psychological missions. The mission to achieve, the mission to get things done, the mission to arrive somewhere, the mission to hold on, the mission to figure things out. There's a certain intentionality that becomes habitual. The mission to defend oneself, the mission to make sure you look okay and nobody's going to blame you, the mission to fit in. We have these underlying psychological missions, and those heart impressions have an effect on our breathing. We don't decide that, however, they do, just because the heart and the body on an energetic level are not separate. So the way that your heart operates will affect how your breathing feels. So if our heart's been operating with a sense of trying to behave myself, make sure that other people don't disapprove of me, get my job done, because otherwise I feel guilty, get positive results, I'll be accepted. Those kind of qualities, which are not evil, are quite normal qualities, worldly qualities. they cause a certain constriction, certain pressures in the body system. And that then the breath is a readout of that, a reading of that. Something can't quite allow and release. Something holds on, and we don't know what it is and why, because it's not happening from a deliberate level, it's happening as a reflex. So maybe we need to just reset our whole embodiment experience in the first place, and let, as that gets more settled and at ease and non-defended and not trying to be something, get the tonality of that, relieving the heart, perhaps then the breathing itself becomes something that is free of these unfortunate reflexes. It's very often the case that when things are not comfortable, then we blame ourselves for it. I must be meditating in the wrong way. I'm a control person. I'm a very nervy person. I've got kinds of bad karma. Very easy to start the blaming process. So whenever that starts, even if it's subtle, you recognize, no, that's not an accurate process. It's not a process that can ever have a skillful result. The process that has a skillful result is body's not happy. Body's not happy. How would it be happy? How would it feel comfortable? And stop the self-reference. Yeah. Stop the self-reference to I'm doing it wrong, right? I'm not doing it right. Stop that. Just how does the body get to feel more settled? Yeah. And you'll avoid a lot of unfortunate mental and heart processes if you cultivate without this sense of self. Okay, so thank you for your questions. Now, are you meditating or not meditating? Hmm? Yeah. So we get to the end of a speaking piece, whether it's been a talk or a Q&A session. Are we meditating or not meditating? There was no bell, just the word stopped. We're following a train of thought, and that drifted away. Where are we now? How is it? And don't jump into action. And settle. Linger just a little bit longer. And then feel whatever it is in you that would like to move or change or go to something else. And feel that interest, if there is that interest. Do something, go somewhere else, shift things a little bit. Maybe first thing you do is just take up a few very simple movements. Relaxing, stretching. Come out through the body. There might be an occasion to go into the standing position. That's what I'm going to do anyway. Standing position, standing form. If you, in your own time, you'd like to pick this up, your choice. And first bring your attention into the whole form, which in fact you must do when you stand up to find the balance so you're not falling over. So you get a rough sense of balance. And you stand there for a long, if you just feel a little bit like a bit tense in my chest. Just relax a little bit there. Perhaps bounce the knees just a little bit, settling down. Give more interest, more attention to your feet. Your feet are the primary agents in a way of this standing. How are they? The soles of your feet. Perhaps sway a little bit. Sensing how the pressures of your feet, the toes, the balls of the feet, the heels, they all know how to do this. They know how to do it. You know, you can go forward, toes, hold that. You fall back, lift your toes on the heels. Your feet know what they're doing. That's their job. So enjoy those feet. And give them a lot of trust. These are the management team. Important to trust your managers. But the rest of the team, legs, yes, quite a large area of a body is leg, with the two muscle groups, the thigh muscle and the calf muscle group, and the ankles, right? So what helps to bring all of those muscles awake? Well, soften the knees. If your legs are tight, then your muscles are locked. So bend the knees just a little so you feel both the upper leg and the lower leg, they're both awake. Those areas are both awake. And they can move you around. You can turn just by the hips and the legs and the knees, swinging circles. You know, you can go from one side to another side. You can crouch down, you can come up. You can lengthen all the way up onto your toes. You can go all down, you can bend knees. And just do that, reminding your upper body from your hips on up. You don't have to do anything. You just just hang in there, like you're dandling a baby. Yeah, so just like you're cradling a little one, and the baby is your belly, your chest, your face, your head. Let it relax and be carried by the legs, which are reliable, work together, won't let you down. Encouraging as you move to the belly, relax. Let your arms come away from the sides of your body, so your chest isn't gripped. You've got chest can be open. Your hands, your arms don't have to hold anything together. Get some space. And space is a strange medium because visually you can see you have plenty of it. But just a little bit of tightening and you lose it. And most of the tightening is around your torso, slightly defended, held in. Yeah? So even though the space is there, we don't open to it. Now, if you just get your arms like just away from the sides of your body, so you could slip your hand in between your arm and your ribs. Yeah, you could do that. And at the same time, you could turn. Yeah, so can you feel the space? No, it's not an absence. It's a lovely open medium through which I can turn. And when my arms are restful, my legs are doing the work, this extremely sensitive area, the torso, feels comfortable. It's not holding on. It doesn't have to be defended. So you move a little bit. So if you're toweling yourself, toweling your back, or rubbing your chest on something agreeable. And coming to the skin boundary and opening the skin boundary. Let your arms be long with your hands hanging off the end of your arms, just like gloves hanging off your sleeves of your sweater. Say, loose hands. Fingers don't have to do anything. Palms can be quite open, which is their duty, their job is to be open. And let's move up into how we are at the throat. Around the throat, as if you're undoing a scarf around your throat, neck scarf. Open the throat, space around your throat, your neck, if you're undoing a scarf. And internally, opening the throat internally, as if you're sighing. That very open throat. Throat is, when we think a lot and talk a lot, even if we just think a lot, the throat tenses up. It's into vocalization mode. Now, you don't have to do any vocalizing or thinking even. If you relax your throat, it does help your thinking mechanism to get the message. Relax the tongue in the back of your mouth. Be aware of your entire head, including the back of the head, as if you're nuzzling, nuzzling with your head. So instead of the face, think of the whole head, as if you're nuzzling something with your head, nuzzling the space. And feeling the space above your scalp, crane, top of your head. Plenty of space open up there. So as we come into the fullness of our standing, moving gently, Then you might want to, in due course of time, just quieten it, as if you're gliding slowly to not exactly a halt, but to a poise, as if you're gliding to a poise, rather like a gymnast, you know. They're still ready to move if need be, but now they're just poised. Poised, sensing the openness. So we're very tuned in to any degree of closing which can occur in the fingers, in the face, in the throat, chest, more or less anywhere. And so quite on the lookout for that. If something does grip or close, we want to find that and connect it to the space above, around, or below. Let's say, there's plenty of welcome space around this. You don't force it to let go, you just invite, connect. Say you feel a bit tense in your belly, you don't know why, doesn't matter. But you might feel there's quite a lot of space in my chest or in front of me. So I connect those two impressions, breathing in, breathing out. Then you come into standing, balanced. Listening. Whole body. And some of the energies that move through will form as thoughts. So we might wonder, what am I supposed to do? How does that thought form feel? It feels agitated. So we acknowledge the agitation. What am I supposed to do? How long am I supposed to do this for? There's a certain agitated stirring. And we welcome that and say, okay, well, why don't you just find this open space, this balance, and tune into that. That's what you do. You might feel a little bit shaky. And you say, well, what does the body need? Do you need to move a little bit? Take a deeper breath. Stand taller. I don't know. Body might know though. You go, oh, shoulder. Didn't realize I was tensing my shoulder. Oh. Footnote, when one part of your body seems to become uncomfortable, you wonder what's going on there. It's funny energy in my mouth, my tongue, or my face or something. What's going on there? Don't go into it. Instead, acknowledge it and be aware of the space around it, where that's occupied by a piece of physical body. So my face feels kind of strange. So being aware of that and then widening the loop of attention to include your chest, diaphragm, all the way down your arms, and so on. And widen your attitude to include qualities such as acceptance, equanimity, relaxing, with no attempt to change anything in the distressed area, but just to widen the arena within which that occurs. So now in your own time, it's up to you if you would like to continue standing, but anytime, let's stay kind of in the same room together. If you want to return to sitting, just remember, don't shift your attention or your mood attention. Just take that same quality as it, just let your legs bend into a sitting position and stay in the same attention. So we're coming to the boundary time, the time we've determined to spend in the room together. So in this transitional mode, just pause and open. Where are you? How is it? Still breathing. Maybe a sense of appreciation, having, held a space for some mysterious thoughts and feelings to move through. We don't really have to know, but we've managed to bear presence and let things move through. So let's continue our practice time together. Some of you might need to take a bit of a rest, and others, we're going to meet again for a shortish hour or so, but meditation and sharing of blessings. This, so some people who can be present for that, other people it will be recorded and it'll be in the shared Google Drive. So may you be well and enjoy your space.